Are we live? There we go. We're live. Hello, everybody. Hang on here. I'm just going to go click on go live on Instagram as well. There we go. Okay. Hi, everybody. Okay, the technology moment from your desk. So it is Wednesday, April 30th, about 8:31. This is my normal once a week offer some stuff into the world on various platforms. So my name is Dr. Rick Tamlin, author of the Hay House book called Play Your Bigger Game. I dare say I'm in the personal development, leadership development, business development, human potential business, and have been for now, I don't know, 40 years? Going to be, about 40 years. I became fascinated with that whole world in my 20s. Anyway, what I want to chat about today is, well, first of all, I just had a wildly successful 2-day virtual event from my home studio in my living room, which I take apart my living room and put up 3 cameras and 5 computers, and we had about 75 people there for 2 solid days. Great. It was a fantastic event. Or an experience. I like to call it an experience, not just an event. And it was called the Performance Lab. And its context and what it was about was helping people get in touch with their own essence and their power and their presence. And more, yes, what do you say in the world? What is your thing? But how do you say it? Who do you be as you do it? So there's a lot of being stuff, not just, there's a lot of good work out there about, what do you say? And this was a little bit more about how do you say it, right? So that word performance, and I know that really, that actually activated, dare I say, triggered some people, I don't want to be in the performance business. I don't have to perform. And I had to give a little bit of a reframe to the concept of performance. Is we're sort of on all the time, every time. If I do a toast to my family, right, or to friends, I'm having a moment of performing. And all I mean by performing in that context is holding the room and being sort of on fire and being on fire. That's not the right term. Being engaging, being entertaining, if you will, changing the energy, all that stuff. So anyway, that's what that was all about. We have some brand new folks that have just joined a new program that I created, a 6-month program called the Performance Academy, and that starts tomorrow. So if you're interested in that, by the way, and hearing more about that, just you can direct message me. I'm all over social media, so you can direct message me or ricktamlin@me.com. Very easy. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about today, speaking of getting your work and your message and your philosophy into the world, which is a lot of what I help people do these days. I love Steven Pressfield. Steven Pressfield has written a couple books, and they're soundbite. I call it a soundbite book, right? These are like, little pages, really short, right? This one, by the way, 1 line, right? That's the chapter, right? Chapter 30 is 1 line. That's what I love about these books. So you can open up to any page. I love these books these days, where you open up to a page and you get an insightful thing from it. He writes very pithy concepts and makes them so tangible, and just, opens up your mind, right? So the name of this book is Put Your Ass Where Your Heart Wants to Be, right? Such a great, title about, move forward on the thing you want to create with your life and create the life you want, and don't just dream about it. Put your body and your mind and your spirit and your soul and your actions in that, in what you want to create. So chapter 31, I just opened up to a page this morning, and here's the chapter, right? And by the way, if you're watching live, and I realize I'm just gonna make sure my mic is good here. Yeah, I think it's good. I hope you're able to hear me. Jocelyn, who is on my team, if you can just text me and say all is well and people can hear this. Because if it's not, it's just a lot of talking and no one's hearing. So, okay. And if you're there watching, you can actually, hang on here, I'm just going to do something with my screen, I promise. Let me just do a little window. Comments and reactions. Yeah, you guys can just do a little thumbs up. I now can see reactions inside this amazing program. Okay, so let me get to this very simple chapter here this morning that I found very interesting. Right, there's slight feedback. I don't know what that means, but okay, I'm gonna keep going then. So this is from Put Your Ass Where Your Heart Wants to Be, and it's chapter 31. It's on page 58, right? The title is A Lifetime, 1 Hour at a Time. A lifetime, 1 hour at a time. Can you put your ass where your heart wants to be if this was a question he asks. Can we put our ass where our heart wants to be if we've got a family, a job, or a mortgage? The answer is yes. The muse does not count hours. She counts commitment. You gotta love that. The muse, right? The muse, right? The archetype of the muse, that sense of self, that sense of power, does not count hours. She counts commitment. It is possible to be 100% committed 10% of the time. This handles, by the way, a lot of the world and the people, and people come to me and go, I don't have time to do my bigger game. I don't have time to do that. You don't understand. I have a life, and I got this circumstance. I got this. I understand all of that, but he's gonna bust this paradigm for us all in a minute. I'm going to repeat it. It is possible to be 100% committed 10% of the time. The goddess understands. James Patterson, so some of you know James Patterson, hugely successful author, right? James Patterson was creative director of J. Walter Thompson, the mega ad agency of the 50s and the 60s, right? His dream was to be a writer of fiction. He would come into the office every morning at 6 a.m. He'd close his door and lock it. For 2 hours, he wrote fiction. When the advertising day started, he opened his door and became a regulation madman, meaning, a person in the ad industry. As of 2022, this book's, a couple years old. As of 2022, James Patterson's books have sold 300 million copies. I love this sentence. Wait for it. 1 hour a day is 7 hours a week, 30 hours a month, 365 hours a year. 369 hours is 9 40-hour weeks. 9 40-hour weeks is a novel. It's 2 screenplays, maybe 3. In 10 years, that's 10 novels or 10 movie scripts. You can be a full-time writer 1 hour a day. So I wanted to share that because I know many of us have dreams, want to be a trainer, a speaker, an author, a coach, or, in the personal development space. If you're a follower of me, you probably are already in that space. And, oh my gosh, there's so many things going on, and I don't have time for that, and I don't have time for that. But what I love about his concept is that concentrated hour that we all probably can create in our day. That concentrated hour tells, in this case, he uses the word muse. I'm going to use the word universe. You are telling the universe, and you're telling yourself, you mean business. Watch me. This hour, I'm going to do my thing. Whether that's online, whether that's sitting down and writing, if you have a book in you, whether that's picking up the phone and reaching out to local organizations to go speak for, because there are thousands of speaking opportunities. So, that concept of, I have so many other things I need to handle. 1 hour a day. I'm going to repeat the, a lifetime. 1 hour at a day. Sorry, let me get it right. A lifetime, 1 hour at a time. So many of us get caught in that. I don't have time for that. I have so many things that need to get handled before I get to that thing, So I hear it all the time. People tell me, there's so many other circumstances that have to be handled first before I can handle this. And James Patterson, 1 hour a day, right? That's how we got it started. So there you go. It's not complicated, because that concentrated 1 hour can change your life, like really. So I really want to my thing today is just having us all underline and realize that the whole phrase, I don't have the time. What we're usually thinking, and but I'm going to use me as the example. Usually what I'm thinking is, I don't have this big block of time, right? So therefore I'm not going to do it, right? I don't have 7 hours today to do this other thing that I want to do because I have a full-time job and I have to make money over here, and then I have to, handle the situation in my life and instead of like, there is an hour a day in me. There's, I think, an hour a day in every single one of us. That's concentrated time on the dream life or the dream work. I'm going to call it dream work that you want to do. So, because I know, again, if you're a follower of mine, you're either a coach, you're a speaker, you're a teacher, you're a trainer, you're in the transformational space. And that takes time and energy, and will continue for the rest of my life. I'll be always putting messages into the world, always doing events like I just did last week, until I can't. Right? And one could say, "Oh, that's a heavy lift, and that's a lot of work. And how did you learn the technology?" And I just want to bust that paradigm. And when you're committed, excuse me, when you're committed, and you're really in the game of it, you go learn the software package. You go buy the product and you watch videos. So, I used a software package last week called Ecamm. Up until last year, I didn't even know what Ecamm was. Somebody told me about Ecamm, and here's what it can do. And I was like, oh, wow. And so I bought Ecamm. I don't know, I think it's like $1,000 a year for the subscription. It's a subscription model. And it can handle 4 computers, and it can handle, I won't go into what it does. What it does though is create an amazing event, right? So, there's the high level of when you're concentrated, when you have concentrated time. Just be ready to have the universe go, oh, look, he really means business, or she really means business. Because the other thing that happens for me is when I have the desire to do this concentrated time and I set it aside in my day, and then something grabs me instead, and I don't follow through on that, that's a tiny, tiny erosion of self-trust. It's not like big, it's not like, oh my God, I'm the biggest loser ever. But there's a little bit of like, when you go to bed every night, you kind of go, I was going to give it that time today, and then I didn't. And it's just, and if you do that too many days in a row, it's like going to the gym, right? It's like, I'm going to go to the gym, and then I don't, and then once in a while I'll go, but then right? Consistency and concentrated time. Right? So I know I've kind of talked about playing a bigger game a bit, and I wrote a book called Play Your Bigger Game. I'm going to grab it here for a second from my shelf, right? I'm not selling a book, but we are going to drop into the chat, whatever platform you're on. I want to offer you a free chapter to the first. A access to the first chapter for free, right? If it grabs you, yes, of course it's for sale on Amazon and that kind of thing. But I've had much success with this, and a lot of success with this. And what I mean by that is, it's a book, it's a workshop, it's a keynote, and it might even become a documentary. I'm debating whether to. I've been thinking about it, like go interview people who are, in what I would call playing a bigger game, and what does that mean, and go behind the curtain. But I've had great success with this as a workshop over the last 15 years, as a team development workshop. I won't go into it, but I'll just say this, it's a cool model. And this model, when I do it for a team, lives on the floor. Huge room. I've done it for 1,000 people. Right? Big, gigantic tic-tac-toe boards. This is a tic-tac-toe board, right? On the floor, blue tape. And, the structure is an amazing, dynamic, interactive experience, and have had great success with that over the years. So just put in the chat if you're watching this. I've been debating whether to do to bring back the bigger game train the trainer workshop. So a number of years ago we had a train the trainer workshop, meaning you get the timelines, you get to learn how to deliver it, you get to learn how to go sell it, as an interactive workshop experience, mostly for teams. Not always, by the way. I've done it for people who were not on a team, so I've done it for the public. But if you're interested in that and you think you want to, if you're a trainer or a speaker or a facilitator and you want another fabulous workshop in your cadre of things, just put it in the chat and go yes, or like, yeah, that's me, or I would love that. But I'm getting a read of, the level of interest in that again. Because again, if you're a workshop leader or you're a facilitator or a speaker or you're in that space and you're looking for something else to add to your toolkit of offerings, this would be an amazing, So, okay, great. Sahara said yes. Okay, great. So I'm looking for that. I don't know yet whether we're going to put it on the calendar in the fall. I'm considering it. It's interesting. I don't know why or how, but this philosophy and this ideology and this concept called play a bigger game is kind of having it's been around for a while for me in my life, in my work life, in my professional life, but it's having another round. Like it's like people are interested in it again, and new younger people and trainers and speakers, and what does it mean to play a bigger game? It's people are fascinated with the language of it, so it seems to have a sort of a next level of interest. And I think that happens a lot. You do something into the world, and it and then it goes away for a while, and I think it's coming back. So I know it's coming back for me. So maybe it's coming back for the world because it's coming back for me. I don't know. So anyway, play your bigger game. Go get your free chapter. There's a link there. You click on it. You do your magic. You give us your email. You'll be on my email list. Every Sunday I send out some wisdom and some ideas and some things to activate and animate and underline for all of you. What does it mean to go to the next level of your life? What does it mean to have a fulfilling life? Because I'm really in the business of I'll say it this way today. People are like, what business are you in? Yeah, I'm in the motivational business, and I'm started out in the life coaching business. Now I'm in the leadership development space. I'm working with organizations a lot and individuals with their leadership development work. But I think the ultimate thing that I want for people is this phenomenon, because my dad used to tell me this, that when you get to the end of your life, my dad kind of spoke this to me at the end of his life, towards the, it wasn't like he was on his deathbed when he said this, but he was in the, latter phase of life. And he said, Rick, what I want for you, and I hope you experience this as best you can in your life, is when you get to the end, you want to look back, at your life and literally be able to say, that was a great ride, and I gave it everything I had to create the life I wanted, to experience the experiences I wanted, and to have the impact that I wanted with my life. And that's a thing that I think is an amazing legacy goal, right? The legacy goal of you look back, quote unquote. Now, most of us don't think about the end, but to quote another book and another great author is Stephen Covey's begin with the end in mind, right? One of the 7 habits, begin with the end in mind. So from a life context, begin with the end in mind. Imagine yourself at 98 years old and you look back and you go, right, that was a great ride. That's what I want for people. That's what I want for myself. And I'm doing everything I can and writing books and workshops and helping people experience that, because when one experiences your amazingness and your greatness and your coaching and your teaching and your trainings, it just feels really good. Whether they like it or not, that's the big part where we get stuck. It's like, well, they need to like it, but when you have a message and you have a mission that you want the world to experience, which is, in the lane of a bigger game, and you really go for it, and you really get in front of a lot of people to experience it as best as possible, I have to tell you, it's really fulfilling. And it's There are frustrating days, the days where it's like, this is too hard. Is anybody going to show up? Is anybody going to buy the book? Why even write it? Who cares? It's my book is a speck in the sea of billions of books. But I'm a guy that goes, well, why not? Why not me, right? If not me, who? Right? There's that classic question. So, all right, everybody, have a great rest of your day, Wednesday, sending you, your family, your organizations, your communities, your state, your city, our country, and dare I say, our globe. I'm sending it peace and ease and health and wealth and community and conversation. One of my biggest things these days is I want us to be more in conversation with each other. And I mean with everybody. That's your choice and what that looks like for you, but when we're in conversation and you add some respect, when you sort of marry respect and conversation together, that's where collaboration actually can occur, and we can go to the next level, I dare say, as a community, as a world, as an whatever context that is for you, as a family, right? Conversation, right, with the underpinning of respect is the name of the game in terms of creating a world where we figure out how to be better together with each other. So, all right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. More to come. I do this every Wednesday. Go grab your chapter, right? Play your bigger game. First chapter free. Jocelyn's going to put in there. If you want to hear more about the Performance Academy, just email info@itsallmadeup or ricktamlin.com, either one, and reach out. We'll have a conversation and see how I might serve. So, all right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Be well. I'm going to push some things here. I'm going to click on some things to end this. Be well, everybody.